Good evening. I would like to call to order the Keizer City Council. It is regular session. It is Monday, January 4th, 2021. Woo-hoo-hoo, we made it. And ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Councilor Herrera.
Here.
Councilor Parsons.
Here.
Councilor Smith.
Here.
Mayor Clark.
Here.
Council President Freeman.
Here.
Councilor Reed.
Here.
And Councilor Kohler.
Here.
Thank you. Would you all rise if you are able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much for joining us on this very rainy evening. As you can see, the majority of this evening's proceedings are special orders of business because it is after an election and we get to say goodbye and thank you to two long-serving members of our Keizer City Council, and then welcome two new members and two returning for the next biennium. Right now, we would like to start with recognizing our outgoing City Council members. I'm going to start with Councilor Marlene Parsons.
All right.
Marlene Parsons has been on council for 2 terms, but everybody knows that she's been involved in the community far longer than that and has made dedication and service to Keizer just part of who she is. There's not much you can look at this town without seeing her fingerprints on it, especially if you go to Keizer Rapids Park. So I'd like to lead off with this proclamation. Whereas the office of City Councilor is an act of volunteer service, and whereas the citizens of the City of Keizer elect from among their fellow citizens persons to serve in the office of City Councilor, and whereas the office of City Councilor requires commitment and dedication to overseeing and directing the civic affairs of the City of Keizer for the benefit of all the people of Keizer, and whereas it is right to thank and honor those who have served in the office of City Councilor. Now, therefore, I, Kathy Clark, Mayor of the City of Keizer, together with the Keizer City Council assembled in regular session, do hereby proclaim that Councilor Marlene Parsons has faithfully served the people of the City of Keizer in the elected office of City Councilor from January 7, 2013 to January 4, 2021, and did carry out the duties for which she was duly sworn, which have included Council President 2017-2018, Interim Council President, 2016. The Big Toy Community Build Playground. Keizer Eclipse Totality 2017 at Keizer Rapids Park. Budget Committee, including Chair in 2016 and 2020. Keizer Events and Festivals Task Force and Committee. Mobile Food Vendor Code Amendments. Volunteer Coordinating Committee Liaison. Parks and Police Services Fees. Keizer Chamber of Commerce and Iris Festival Liaison. Community and Business Leaders Education Task Force. Keizer Little League Park Long Range Planning Task Force. Audit Committee. In addition to many years of dedicated community volunteerism. And further proclaim sincere thanks and appreciation on behalf of the people of the City of Keizer to Councilor Marlene Parsons for her dedicated service. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city to be affixed this day, the 4th day of January, 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, Councilor Marlene Parsons. The floor is yours, Councilor.
Oh, geez. Let me say thank you to everyone for electing me to the 2 terms on the City Council. I've had amazing mentors over the years, starting with, well, I don't know why I did, but I idolized Richard Walsh, but don't tell him that. Lori Christopher, Jackie Moore, Dennis Coho, and Kathy Clark. I've learned, and I learned early, that you can't take anything personal, because if you do, you'll go home and cry. So you have to put on your, your big girl pants, and you have to just listen and deal with it. We've been told that we're not doing enough, but it's been a rough year, and I think everyone can agree that we've been through a lot, not just as a city council and as a city, but as a community. And I think that we've come out of it Keizer strong, because I think that's what we do. We sit up here as nonpartisan volunteers, but to represent 40,000 people in this city. I might not always agree, but I do what is best for Keizer and for those 40,000 people. This job isn't easy, but it can be very rewarding when you see what Keizer has become. I challenge all of you that wants to see change to step forward and be heard, respectively, please. I asked Tracy to list all the accomplishments of the last 8 years that I was part of, and it was 4 pages, and it wasn't even double spaced, so I decided I'd just let Kathy do the talking on here, because that was a lot easier. You heard, she already took the thunder out of my biggest accomplishments, so I won't go there. But my wish is that the public has a better understanding of how government works. The reason why I got on the city council, I had frustrations. Nothing was getting done fast enough for me, or we weren't going in this direction, or we weren't doing this. So I said, I want to run, I want to do this, I want to see what I can do. I thought I could come in and make drastic changes, realize that's not the way government works. Government works very slow, and you have to do things, as Shannon says, within this legal notebook of his. So we had to behave ourselves. I would like to thank Bill Lawyer first, and he's always available to answer my questions. He's always been respectful and very knowledgeable and professional. I've talked to many public works guys, and they love their job, so that to me speaks volumes of his leadership, so thank you, Bill. Nate/Shane. Even though Nate is gone, Shane, I'll give you the kudos, okay, because he wasn't here for me to do that. But you're doing an excellent job in filling in, and I know you worked tirelessly to continue the work that he did. I wish you good luck and to keep doing that. Shannon, I love when you kind of put your foot on the brakes and reel us in and keep us on track with all of your notebooks that you bring each meeting. You are always available to answer questions, and of course you have the best communication skills. To Michelle, I don't know if she's here tonight, but HR.
Right there.
Okay, I enjoyed my time on the Personnel Policy Committee, and your knowledge of HR and of how the unions work is something that keeps the city on track. HR is always the dreaded place, and most people don't like it, but hey, it's your job and you're doing it damn well. Chris, you've grown up so much since the first day. I met you so long ago. You've grown in the last 8 years, and especially this last year, and I appreciate you learning and continuing to evolve to make Keizer a better city and to keep us in the forefront of cities. Thanks for helping me and giving me the tools to be a better counselor. I so appreciate that. Tim, he's the budget guy, and you do it so well. I so appreciated you helping me through the budget and the different funds and why we can't spend money. Tracy, I don't know what I can say, but Tracy, I love you. You're the glue that holds this council together. You work hard to make sure that our job is easier. You're thoughtful, kind, and you're thorough. And I'm going to miss you the most, but don't tell them that. Council, I think I'm going to start with Dan.
Uh-oh.
Your passion for the community, Dan, is something I really get so jealous of, because I don't seem to have that same energy, it seems like to me, because you're everywhere all the time. And I do appreciate that you're always everywhere all the time. Elizabeth. Oh, those couple years ago when I sat down with you and said, you got to come to city council. And you said, why? And I said, oh, it's not that difficult of a job. You'll be just fine. Well, you are strong, you're fair, you're a leader, and you do get things done. And I'm so glad you said yes. Laura, I've enjoyed working with you the last few years, and I know that you will do really good things for the next 4 years, and for that, I wish you well. Kathy, your leadership and energy far exceed those of the normal mayor. I don't think you sleep. I think you're on every committee that was ever in the state of Oregon. But I do appreciate how you do get things done, and you try to work well in getting those things done, and your partnerships in the community that makes us good in Keizer, gets us what we need. Kim, I know you're leaving with me. We pinky swore 4 years ago this would be our last term, so you can't undo a pinky swear. But I do appreciate your level-headedness and working with you the last 8 years. But I know I'll see you around. Roland.
No.
Yes. Roland, I've known Roland for 25 years. Our kids even dated once. Roland, you should have brought me flowers, dude.
I should have brought you flowers.
Okay,
I
just
will
saying,
get flowers.
just saying. Your leadership out in the community helps the city so tremendously. With the LOC, with the Color Caucus, with the LAC, things you've done with those students, your mentoring of elementary school students and bringing them up, you have such big roles that you are working on right now. And that leadership and that is so needed. And it brings respect to the city council. I've enjoyed mentoring you for the last 6 years. Sometimes you didn't always listen.
No.
I wish you would have, but that's okay. I still love you. Thanks again, Keizer. That's all I got. Thanks.
Tonight, we also say goodbye and thank you to Council President Kim Freeman. Has the same beginning, but you know what? You're going to hear it twice. Whereas the office of City Councilor is an active volunteer service, and whereas the citizens of the City of Keizer elect from among their fellow citizens persons to serve in the office of City Councilor, and whereas the office of City Councilor requires commitment and dedication to overseeing and directing the civic affairs of the City of Keizer for the benefit of all the people of Keizer, and whereas it is right to thank and honor those who have served in the office of City Councilor. Now, therefore, I, Kathy Clark, Mayor of the City of Keizer, together with the Keizer City Council assembled in regular session, do hereby proclaim that Councilor Kim Freeman has faithfully served the people of the City of Keizer in the elected office of City Councilor from June 6, 2013 to January 4, 2021, and did carry out the duties for which she was duly sworn, which have included Council President 2019-2020, the Big Toy Community Bill Playground, Budget Committee since 2011, Personnel Policies Committee, Charter Review Committee, Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Initiative Task Force, Audit Committee, Volunteer Coordinating Committee Liaison, Traffic Safety Bikeways Pedestrian Committee Liaison, West Keizer Neighborhood Association Liaison. West Keizer is here tonight, and I know they really appreciated you being there. Planning Commission Liaison. In addition to many years of dedicated community volunteerism, including terms on the Volunteer Coordinating Committee 2001 to 2007 for Councilor Lee, and 2008 to April 2013 for Councilor Clark, River Fair, and Irish Festival. And further, we proclaim sincere thanks and appreciation on behalf of the people of the City of Keizer to Councilor Kim Freeman for her dedicated service, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Keizer to be affixed this day, the 4th day of January, 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, Council President Kim Freeman.
Well, half my speech is gone, so you guys will be spared that.
I have a copy. Just
Oh,
kidding.
yeah. And I probably have a few of the same things Councilor Parsons said tonight, too. The benefits or the disadvantages of going second, but that's okay. So first of all, I'm going to take this time to thank my family, my husband. Marlene, this is your fault. My husband for all of his support, my mom for her unwavering comments after council on the next meeting morning. We'd always have great conversations. And of course, to my grandson, who now I get to spend a lot of time with. And the citizens. Wow. You are amazing. I have grown so much personally and professionally. I have learned how local government works thanks to Chris Epley, and I have cherished our conversations. And I work in state government, and nothing is fast in government. I really appreciate the pride, spirit, and volunteerism of all the residents. There are so many projects that our community has endured, will continue to endure, and the residents step up every time in just drones. To the staff, you are amazing, from the department heads to the entire city staff. There are several staff I didn't meet during my 8 years. I guess because I didn't feel it was my place to walk in the door and disrupt your great work. But just so you know, behind every great manager is all the staff that are doing the work for us. And you know, when you first start council, you have so many questions. Oh my goodness, I felt so overwhelmed. I remember my first council packet. And it's like, how am I ever gonna learn all this? Everyone was so patient with me. They gave me the information I needed, but they never swayed me on what their thoughts were. They gave me the tools and the resources to make my own decision. So now to some of the staff. Nate Brown, you're not here. Your humor was just something I truly missed. Shannon, your guidance, and I'll miss seeing those notebooks roll in. Again, Chris, where can you make change? Local government. Bill Lawyer, you're the no-nonsense guy. If it makes sense, you get it done. Chief Teague, there he is. Justice, for all the work you do. Michelle, you're amazing. Tim, record of excellence. Tracy Davis, you rock. I'm gonna miss you. You know, every month we meet with the Marion County Commissioners. You know, I used to dread going to those breakfasts. Who's laughing? It's not Chris. Shannon. I used to dread going to those breakfasts until I became council president. And I don't know if it's because I had to run those meetings and I had to figure out what we were going to talk about, but they're a gem and they work with us and they're our partner. We couldn't ask for better commissioners to help us through everything. And last but not least, the Keizer Chamber of Commerce, Danielle, who I know she was sworn in today, and to all their board of directors who do amazing things in our community. We couldn't be there without I was appointed in June of 2013 to fill a vacancy. I applied with 6 other people. One of them was Councilor Herrera. We all had to give a 5-minute speech, and then the council selected us. And boy, I was glad they selected me. Nervous and all of that. My husband said, you should pull out your speech that you did, 8 years ago. And I'm like, oh, I don't even remember what I said. But I want to thank Lyndon Zeitz, who pointed out in the article that selecting me, we became a female-dominated council. So women rock. Sorry, gentlemen. But I didn't realize that, so I really appreciate Lyndon for pointing that out. I originally planned to serve 1 term, till my friend Marlene and I did pinky swear, but she left out the too much wine. So that was our little secret. So anyone thinking about running, pinky swear and drink lots of wine, and you'll have amazing another 4 years. When I decided not to run again, people said, well, how long have you been on council? I go, 8 years. And they go, and you don't want to run again? So 8 years, I guess, isn't enough to be on council. Sorry, Kyle and Ross, so maybe you need to serve longer than 8 years. But when I said I've been involved in the city for more than 20 years, they go, oh, now I understand why you're not seeking re-election. So I guess that was just kind of struck me really funny. I'm not gonna go over all my things that I did because the mayor already talked about that. But I know the West Keizer group is here. They are a group of passionate leaders. They care about their neighborhood, but mostly the city. You guys rock. Planning Commission. "Oh, Counselor Parsons, you nudged me to serve on that committee." So she goes, "Kim, that's where you have to be. You have to learn. That's just a committee you need to be on." Wow, was she right? Shane, you're incredible. What I love about you is you don't get excited, but we get a lot of work done. The other two things I think that are most things I remember: Charter Review Committee and then the big toy. I didn't list everyone's name, so sorry. Just too many names and not enough paper. Now to my counselors. Counselor Smith. Kind of sounds like Counselor Parsons. You get it done. You have a wonderful attitude. Your insights to social media blow me away. And for those of you who do not know, I am not a Facebook person. Your leadership in the Charter Review Committee, ensuring each member had the opportunity to ask questions, seek clarity. You worked tirelessly with Shannon and Tammy to ensure the removal of Section 44, and we now have a new city charter. Counselor Reed, you come to each meeting along with all your other committees, and you're prepared with your thoughts and questions. What I so appreciate about you is you ask questions that I never even think about. But that's what makes you a great counselor. And we need 7 people who have different thought processes. Counselor Kohler, I think this is a repeat from Marlene. You hear of a need in this community, and you find a way to take care of it. You bring people together, working side by side, strangers, to do amazing things. You have worked so hard with our Eagle Scouts on all their projects, and you have found them money. Counselor Herrera, you too have been in this community a really long time. You recognize the youth who sometimes get no recognition. You're always looking out for them. Your mentorship at Kennedy is amazing. But one thing I think I'm most proud of you is you're one of the founders of the Latino Action Committee. And you've ensured that graduating Latino students have scholarships because you know how important that is. Oh, Marlene, Counselor Parsons, your honesty, your drive, your determination are unwavering. You've shared your passion with me to be the best counselor president I can be, crying at everything, so you can see my true side. Your organizational skills with the big toy and the Eclipse event, 2 huge events, went off without a hitch. Mayor Clark, you are the Wonder Woman. You know, I play Avengers with my grandson. My husband will laugh. And it's always, "Who are you?" My first thing is Wonder Woman, because I don't know who else to be. But when I thought of what I'm writing for you, you are the Wonder Woman. You work a full-time job, and you have more than a full-time job as our mayor. You represent us with passion, excellence, allowing each person to be heard, ensuring Robert's rules of orders are followed, along with a respect for the office. And for that, I'm ever grateful. To 2 new counselors, Ross and Kyle. Kyle, I know from Chamber. Ross, I've gotten to know you. I wish you both success in this new journey. I know you'll both read your packets, some small, some really large. You'll do your homework and you'll ask questions. And most importantly, you're going to listen to all the citizens of Keizer. This council is a team, meaning we must work together for the betterment of the city. We each have our own opinions and thoughts because we're each individuals. We each have 1 vote, and it's yours to cast. Our role is to set policy for this city. Each councilor must treat each other with respect in public as well as behind closed doors. Respect is earned by each other learning and growing from our discussions and our actions. And we are neighbors helping neighbors. Thank you, Lori Christopher. To everyone that comes to council meetings to listen, provide public testimony, I applaud you. I hope more people will become involved. I know it's scary to come and give public testimony, but You can always provide it in writing if that makes it easier for you. I hope that you choose to participate in the city the best that you can. As we move forward in 2020, I'm looking forward to the new goals that this council will establish, and I can't wait to see what you're going to come up with. I know you'll be continuing the equity racial justice work, which is something that's been near and dear to my heart. This is tough work. They're tough discussions, but we must allow each other the grace in these discussions as we're all learning, and we need to be in safe places to have candid, honest conversations with respect to one another for where you are today and where we need to be, both personally and as a city. Chris and staff, I applaud you for translating our meetings in Spanish. I've met one of the interpreters and they're so excited to come here on a real regular basis. Our council packet is translated in Spanish. It's on our website. I hope that you'll look to other opportunities to get the word out in the community. Zoom, right? It's a known name for all of us now. And I remember we struggled with Zoom in the beginning, but we can have successful meetings. And we had the fastest budget session ever this year in Zoom. So Tim, maybe we'll do Zoom. You guys will do Zoom again. We'll be done in 2 meetings. It was awesome. I've said this and I have not done a good job, but look how we can get out of City Hall and into the community and hear more residents. I know Shannon doesn't like that. Last but not least, I'm honored to serve with this council and in my last 2 years as your president, and I'm honored to be included with previous councilors. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your service to the community. Council President Freeman, former Council President Marlene Parsons, thank you. And now we are going to allow them to return to the audience and we will get ready to swear in our incoming council members. So in this last election, 3 positions and the mayor's position were up for election. Councilor Reed ran for re-election, and I want to thank you for running for a second term. Your thoughtfulness, your preparedness, your candor, and the intellect that you bring to and passion that you bring to the work has really been a great asset. I'm glad you have will be returning for a second term, and we are going to be welcoming currently Councilor-elect Ross Day and Councilor-elect Kyle Duran. So with that, thank you very much, and we will have Shannon bring us up one at a time. We are going to start with position number 1, and that will be Councilor Laura Reed to take the oath of office.
Please you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Laura Reed,
I, Laura Reed,
being first duly sworn,
being first duly sworn,
upon oath say
upon oath say
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution and the laws of the United States
the Constitution and the laws of the United States
and the state of Oregon,
and the state of Oregon,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
perform the duties of counselor
perform the duties of counselor
for the city of Keizer
for the city of Keizer
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
for my term of office.
for my term of office.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Councilor Reed, would you like to introduce family members that are here with you today and that have been supporting you both in term 1 and will be there for term 2?
Absolutely, thank you. My husband Tim is here, and stand up and wave, and he's been very supportive. My mother, Martha Smith, is my biggest fan. I have always appreciated her support. My daughter, Jillian Terrasa, who is a wonderful confidant, and she has provided me with 2 wonderful grandsons who she probably wisely did not bring tonight. But and then my son, Jordan Reed, and he also is just an excellent listener, and he's my walk buddy, and he is an excellent support that way. So thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you, because we all know that volunteerism is not an individual undertaking. It is a family undertaking as well. And now I would like to invite Ross Day to come up and for our City Attorney Shannon Johnson to administer the oath of office.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Ross Day,
I, Ross Day,
being first duly sworn,
being first duly sworn,
upon oath say
upon oath say
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution and the laws
the Constitution and the laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Oregon,
and the state of Oregon,
and that I will faithfully perform
and that I will faithfully perform
the duties of counselor
the duties of counselor
for the city of Keizer
for the city of Keizer
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
for my term of office.
for my term of office.
And Councilor Day, would you like to introduce your family who have been supporting you and will be there with you through this journey as a city councilor?
Sure. Do I have my microphone on?
Just turn it on. They're not trying.
Okay, I hope that's on.
Yes.
All right, so I'll start from left to right. First on the far left is my oldest son, Jess. He attended McNary High School. He's 20 years old. Next to him is Alyssa Duke. She's a family member as well tonight. Next to her is my 17-year-old son, Logan, who's a senior at Blanchette Catholic School. And he used to know Shane Witham as Coach Witham years ago. Next to him is my 14-year-old daughter, Audrey, who's a freshman at Blanchette Catholic School. And then last, but by no means least, my wife of 21 years, known her since 1989, Shelley Day.
Thank you so much. And now I'd like to invite up Kyle Duran to take the oath of office for council position number 3.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Kyle Duran,
I, Kyle Duran,
being first duly sworn,
being first duly sworn,
upon oath say
upon oath say
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution and the laws
the Constitution and the laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Oregon,
and the state of Oregon,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
perform the duties of counselor
perform the duties of counselor
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
for the term of my office.
for the term of my office.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Councilor Duran, would you like to introduce your family members who have been with you through the campaign, will be along your side for the term of your office?
Yes.
Is that Marlene?
Is it on now?
Marlene cried on it, so it's,
Can you hear me? Is that any?
yeah. Okay, switch it over. There we go.
Okay, that's better. I have my wife with me of 30 years. She's been, my backbone and my help through all of this, as well as my daughter Claire, who is my assistant also at work. And between the two of them, they keep me focused on everything that needs to be done professionally and personally. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you. And now I will come up and take the oath of office for my 4th term as mayor.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Kathy Clark,
I, Kathy Clark,
being first duly sworn,
being first duly sworn,
upon oath say
upon oath say
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution and the laws
the Constitution and the laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Oregon,
and the state of Oregon,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
perform the duties of mayor
perform the duties of mayor
for the city of Keizer
for the city of Keizer
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
for the term of my office.
for the term of my office.
Congratulations.
Thank you. There used to be a tradition where we'd shake hands with everybody, and that went by the wayside with 2020. It is my pleasure to introduce family members who are here and who are watching. My husband of 38 years, Kevin Clark, is here tonight. He's walked alongside me through all of these years as a city councilor and mayor, been willing to listen, to take care of things when I am up at those wee hours, answering those emails. Don't look at the time date stamp. And has just been absolutely the best. I could not do this without him. Our children, one is watching from Arizona, our daughter Emmeline and her husband Jordan, and my new little grandson Jace. My son Alex and his wife Sheila, who live here just over the border in Salem. My daughter Allison and her husband Michael, who live in Oregon City, are watching. And then my youngest daughter Elena, who lives here in Keizer, is watching. And without them, the family, it truly is a group effort for them to be there for me and to help me bounce ideas, get inspiration, and listen to them as they share their ideas for the next generation. I also want to thank my mom, who is one of my biggest fans, for these beautiful flowers. She's watching tonight from home. Thank you, Mom. You've been there absolutely every step of the way, and I love you for it. And two of my closest friends who have been there, they've been here to be supportive. They have been my prayer partners and just friends as long as I've known my husband, actually a little bit longer. Bob and Colleen Bush, thank you for your ongoing support. Appreciate you so much. Thank you. Whoops. There we go. Come on, computer. There you go. Good computer. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. So now we are going to go to the next part of our agenda, which is the election of the 21-22 council president. So in the packet, it goes through how this is laid out in the council rules and procedure, but I'm going to read this for those of you who may not be familiar with the process and how this works. Section 4.2 of the Keizer City Council Rules of Procedure read as follows. At the first meeting of the council in each odd number year, and heavens knows this is going to be an odd year, the council will elect a council president from its members by a majority vote of those council members present. The councilor with the longest continuing tenure who has not served as council president previously will be nominated. Others may be nominated from the council, including the current council president, except she pinky swore, so I took care of that. In the event that no candidate receives a majority vote, a second vote will be conducted. The first place candidates will be nominated. If there's only one first place candidate, such candidate and all second place candidates shall be nominated. If no candidate receives a majority vote, and for the record, a majority vote is 4. The candidates in the second vote will be draw lots to determine the council president, and we do have here with us tonight the official Keizer bucket. It's over by Shannon. And there's a story that goes with it. Whenever the mayor is unable to perform the functions of the office, the council president shall act as mayor. The council president will initiate a motion for all prepared resolutions and ordinances and the consent calendar unless another councilor has requested to do so or initiate the action. In addition, section 4.3 states that, let me turn to that page, it's not in here. I marked it. Oh, okay, that's what happens when I mark it in the middle of the night. There it is. Section 4.3, Sergeant at Arms. The Sergeant at Arms will be the council president. It will be the duty of the Sergeant at Arms to assist the presiding officer as appropriate to maintain the order and decorum at all meetings. The council president may appoint a designee to act as the Sergeant at Arms. In the absence of the council president, the Sergeant at Arms will be filled by the councilor with the longest continuous service on council from the councilors present. So that's a little bit of background on what the position is. It is a working position that has duties and responsibilities associated with it, some within the conducting the meetings, but also outside of city council business to be able to function as both a leader and also as a representative of the city when I am not able to do so, or if I designate someone to do so in my place. So looking at the tenure of the current city council, Councilor Herrera was elected in 2014 and was reelected in 2018. Councilor Reed was elected in 2016 and just reelected in 2020. Councilor Smith was elected in 2018. Councilor Kohler elected 2018. Councilor Day elected 2020. Councilor Duran elected 2020. With that, I will open nominations for the City Council President. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As per section 4.2 Council Rules and Regulations Procedures, I herewith nominate a friend and colleague, Roland A. Herrera, to be Keizer City Council President.
Thank you.
I would decline at this time. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, the nomination has been made and declined. Do I have another nomination for Council President? Councilor Reed.
I nominate Councilor Smith.
Councilor Smith, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Thank you. Are there other nominations at this time? Hearing no further nominations, with, let me get the language that he gave me. Without objection, I will declare the nominations closed. Are there any objections to closing the nominations? Thank you. We have one nominee for Council President, and by unanimous consent, unless there is objection, I would ask that the City Council affirm Councilor Smith as the City Council President. Is there any objection to the unanimous consent? Hearing none, Councilor Smith, congratulations on being elected the City Council President.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
At this time, we're going to go into the committee reports and begin with item 8A, which is the 2019, no, actually it'd be 21-22. Oopsies, that's okay. 21, we are going to let go of 2020. The 2021-2022 committee boards, commissions, council committees, and ad hoc task forces review and the city council appointments. So this has been provided in writing to Ms. Davis, so she will be able to put this into the record in its entirety. So I will read it into the record, and then it will be published when the minutes are published from this meeting. Internal committees, Public Arts Commission, Councilor Reed. The Keizer Audit Committee, Councilors Kohler, Smith, and Day. Keizer Budget Committee, all city council members. Keizer Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, Councilor Smith. Keizer Personnel Committee, Mayor Clark, Councilors Reed and Smith. Keizer Planning Commission, Councilor Duran. Keizer Points of Interest Committee, Councilor Herrera. Long Range Planning Task Force, all council members. Stormwater Advisory Committee, Councilors Reed, Kohler, and Duran. Traffic Safety Bikeways Pedestrian Committee, Councilor Day. Volunteer Coordinating Committee, Counselor Kohler. Neighborhood Association Liaisons. Counselors, we're going to do something a little bit different this year. Rather than if I assign one person and then find a substitute if you can't make it, I've talked with you about pairing up. 2 counselors will be assigned to each neighborhood association, then you decide schedule for attending. West Keizer Neighborhood Association will be Counselors Smith and Day. Greater Gupser Neighborhood Association, Counselors Herrera and Reed. Southeast Keizer Neighborhood Association, Counselors Kohler and Duran. Outside appointments, Clagger Creek Watershed Council, Counselor Kohler. The SEDCOR Board of Directors, Mayor Clark. Keizer Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors Liaison, Counselor Kohler. Keizer United Liaison, Counselor Herrera. Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Government Board of Directors, Mayor Clark. Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance Board and ORS 190 Entity Board, Mayor Clark, alternate, Counselor Reed. Mid-Willamette Valley Commission on Transportation, otherwise known as MWAT, Mayor Clark, alternate, Counselor Day. Salem Keizer Area Transportation Studies, SCATS, Mayor Clark, alternate, Counselor Day. Community and Business Leaders Education Task Force. We currently have 4 people listed, and that would be Counselor Herrera, Counselor Parsons, Chief Teague, and myself. Counselor Herrera, is that a task force that you were planning to continue on? That was the Education Leaders and Task Force under Salam Noor.
Yes.
Okay, you're going to continue on that. Okay,
Yes.
I will inform Salam Noor that you will continue to do that. Keizer Heritage Foundation Board of Directors, Mayor Clark. And I do want to note here that Councilor Reed is a board member on the Heritage Board, but represents another organization in those meetings. Okay, I'm going to write a note here, Herrera. Okay. So outside committees, acknowledgements in that these are appointments by host organizations. Latino Action Committee, Councilor Herrera. The Marion County Public Safety Coordinating Council. Councilor Herrera, is your term continuing, or is that?
I've had another year.
I'm sorry?
I have one more year.
One more year,
And I will be
okay.
done after that.
Okay, so
I
one
won't
more
apply
year.
for anymore.
So a year from now,
Yep.
we'll know if there's going to be continued. Just let us know. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is appointed by Marion County, so not by the City of Keizer through 2021. Okay. League of Oregon Cities Board of Directors, Councilor Herrera. League of Oregon Cities Foundation Board, Mayor Clark. And I think I covered your list, Tracy. And if I missed something, please let me know. So I remember I was talking to my husband, a friend of his got talked into doing a board of directors and said, yeah, it's just one meeting a month, not a problem. Yeah, they don't mention all of the committees. So there is that extra work as well. But that's where a lot of the work gets done. And many of you know and are volunteers on local committees and commissions. And it is a place where we can really dig in and bring the brain trust that we have in this community together in these various committees and commissions. And it is amazing how much we are able to get done, because we don't have, it's not just the 7 of us, it's multiplied with the efforts of our committees and commissions. And I'm so thankful for all the volunteers who get involved. Volunteer Coordinating Committee appointments. So just to explain, whoops, come here you. I'm scrolling. The Volunteer Coordinating Committee was originally established in the early 1990s with the following purpose: to identify functions and activities where volunteers can help the city, solicit volunteers for all city boards, committees, and commissions, solicit and match volunteer needs for special projects and activities within the city, recruitment, interviewing, and recommendations of board, committee, and commission appointments to the City Council, responsibility to assist in training of volunteers and public relation items pertaining to the individual board, committee, and commissions, and recognition of volunteers for the city. The Volunteer Coordinating Committee consists of 7 members, each appointed by a member of the City Council. The 2-year term begins at the first City Council meeting in January of each odd-numbered year following the general election. Tonight, each council member will announce their appointment to the Volunteer Coordinating Committee. Councilor Herrera, who is your appointment, please?
My appointment, if she accepts again, and which I've talked to her before, is Robin Wilson.
Robin Wilson, all right. Councilor Duran?
Does that work? No?
Nope, try again.
Yeah. I'd like to appoint Jane Herb.
Jane Hurd. All right. Council President Smith?
I will reappoint Laura Anson.
Thank you. Councilor Day?
I'll appoint Jessica Davidson.
Thank you. Councilor Reed?
I will appoint Guillermo Rodriguez.
Thank you. And Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've asked Larry Jackson to continue for another 2 years.
Thank you. And I have asked Daisy Santana Hickman to continue as my appointee, and she has accepted. All right, thank you all very much. This will take us then to public testimony. This time is provided for citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda scheduled for public hearing. We have no public hearings this evening. To remind people for public testimony, the ground rules are that it's your turn to talk, ours to listen, and you have up to 5 minutes. Clarifying questions may be asked by city council members, and then the chair will refer to staff if there's needed follow-up. I ask that you address your comments to the chair. This one. Comments impugning the character or motivation of councilors, staff, or community members are not appropriate. Distractions from the audience take away from the speaker, and so we ask respectfully that you allow us to focus on the speaker and do so by helping keep the council chambers quiet. Written testimony. At the end of public testimony, any written testimony that has been received will be acknowledged for the record. The name of the writer, the city of residence, and the topic line will be read. The written testimony will be posted in its entirety on the website with additional materials after the meeting. The writer's email address is redacted. Similarly, we do not ask you to give your address, just your city of residence. If a counselor wishes to read a particular piece into the record, they may do so during their own council report later in the meeting. With that, I have a few of the blue slips here, in no particular order. I will start with Alexis Smith. And I know some people are waiting in the lobby. Thank you so much for your patience. And Betty Hart will be on deck. So Alexis Smith and then Betty Hart. Pardon? Oh, Councilor Herrera.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to make a comment in regards to folks that have been writing letters, and I appreciate all the support. It's getting crazy, but I just want folks to know that if you make comments, and I appreciate your support, whoever supports me, and I understand that, but please be civil and be kind and be respectful. I want folks to move forward, and I appreciate the comments. You can speak what you want. I get that and understand that, but I ask you to be respectful. I'm trying to do the best here, and I want you, and I appreciate your words, and I encourage you to always participate. The best thing that's come out of this is all the engagement from all you folks. I think it's probably the most I've seen our engagement of our city into our matters, and I just want to repeat, please, I appreciate the support, but at the same time, I want to be civil in doing this. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Herrera. Alexis, come on up to the microphone. Thank you for joining us tonight. And if you would just state your name and your city of residence for the record, and the time is yours.
I'm Alexis Smith, and...
Yeah, you have to, there's a television audience.
All right. My name is Alexis Smith. I reside in Keizer, and I wasn't entirely certain what I was coming to speak on today, other than the division is everywhere, everywhere. We've got maskers, anti-maskers. Let's open our businesses. No, they need to stay closed. We have BLM and Patriots, and it's absolutely everywhere. And I was actually really happy to hear him speak to the fact that he loves that people support him, and that while we're entitled to our opinions, we need to remember to be kind. I have watched every council meeting for the last few months. I've seen side eyes, I've seen general lack of interest, and I've seen some people bite their tongues. And I'm just hoping now that the election is done, we made that change, that's done. I really need one piece of together. And I really hope moving forward, the council and the community can stop and just come up with a solution. Because I'll tell you what, our businesses right now are struggling. I called 15 restaurants one day and had to stop. And I'm not an emotional person, because it was heartbreaking. We have restaurants that have had days with no customers in their building. 0 people have walked through the door. This needs to be handled. We need to find a way to bring the anti-maskers and the pro-maskers or whatever together. We've got to come up with some genuine way to get our businesses going. I'm not asking for the bold steps some others have made, but I'm asking for more. I'm asking us to come together as a community and figure out what we're doing for these businesses, because what we have right now is not working. That's all. Also,
Thank you.
hi, and I'm super glad that all of you made it and that you guys are still here. I genuinely enjoy everyone on the council, so we've got the best team. Now let's do something.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Smith? All right, thank you so much. Betty Hart, you're up, and then on deck will be Jessica Davidson.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Betty Hart, and I live here in Keizer. You received a letter from me in your packet congratulating you on adopting the Statement of Inclusivity. In the letter, I noted that the work ahead to implement the statement would be hard, both in trying to discover how decisions you make will affect the broader spectrum of the community and how your decisions will be perceived by the community at large. In some cases, that can be more important than how people will be affected. One of the key skills that we must have to hear what people have to say is active listening skills. That includes skills with which you hear both the emotion behind the message and the message itself. Sometimes people are only able to share their concerns with the passion they feel. If you don't acknowledge that passion, it is likely to escalate, and you're not likely to get the substance or not really hear it. I think that it would be very helpful for the council to reach out to someone whose expertise, this is not me, by the way, is to help people assess their own biases. I think this should be a guided self-assessment for the council members, key staff, and volunteers of the city. I would love to participate in a workshop like that if one were held for community members. Such a self-assessment will help counselors both individually and as a group, I believe, understand what barriers you can control. If you are serious about including people of color, of different sexual orientation, of different abilities, then you must act like it. Understanding how to best communicate with people different from yourself is the first step. And then reaching out to those communities is another step. Thank you very much.
Thank
Is there
you.
any questions?
Any questions from Ms. Hart? So I've got two. One, I just made some notes. And that was what was in the packet, so thank you. I'm making a list of ideas that people have shared regarding how we can continue to operationalize the statement that we passed. And number two, has the fire district done any of this? Because just for the record, I want to acknowledge you as a member of the board of directors for Keizer Fire District and the work that they may be doing in this area.
Actually, I went back and did some research on that subject, and they adopted several years ago mission, vision, and values, and included a statement of inclusiveness in the values.
Is that on their website?
Yes, it is.
All right, fabulous. I'm going to go and look to make sure I can see it there. Thank you so much, and I thank you for pointing that out, because
Okay,
a lot of us
thank
don't do
you.
that. Thank you. Next up is Jessica Davison and, Counselor Kohler, I'm sorry, did I miss?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ms. Davison just texted me and said that she's running a little late. She had a kid she needed to do something with, but if you can put her on last, she would like to try to make it.
Okay, I'll switch it around, and we might be able to do something later. Mr.
Thank you.
Rodriguez, Rich Rodriguez?
Greetings, citizens, city
Sir.
staff, councilors new and old, and Ms. Mayor. My name is Rich Rodriguez, and I'm a citizen of Keizer.
Thank you.
And I'm here to talk to you primarily about COVID-19 in our community. On November 16th, Mr. Post came before us and spoke against the efforts of the state of Oregon's work to quelch COVID-19 in our state and in our community. Mr. Post's election slogan was the right choice. I can tell you, Mr. Post is making wrong choices for Keizer. He came before us and complained about efforts to protect the health of citizens of Keizer. Yes, I do get it. The businesses, many are suffering. I want to remind you, my friends, that during World War II, this country came together and fought against the fascists, Germany and Japan. We did not bicker, we did not complain. We fought that war and we won together. We won that not by embracing individuals seeking to divide us, but by fighting the common enemy. Instead of complaining to the citizens of Keizer, Mr. Post could have come before us and pledged himself to fight against the war on COVID-19 and to work to gain access to financial resources to help businesses in our community impacted. Simply stated, Mr. Post did not make the right choice. He made the wrong choice, promoting efforts that may accelerate the spread of COVID-19 in our community. Our community passed a new charter, embracing working together. And this is really good news. I personally gifted a local business here on River Road $100 out of my pocket. I could see that business struggling to keep their doors open, limiting their hours. Suppose Mr. Post came before us and encouraged Keizer citizens who are able to gift local businesses with money. Suppose he argued before us to seek financial support for local businesses. He did neither of these things. These would be the correct choices for the citizens of Keizer. Encouraging citizens to defy measures to protect the health of all of us is simply wrong. We have a lot to do together. Divisiveness has no place in Keizer. When it comes to protecting the health and lives of our citizens, divisiveness has no place. End of statement.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Rodriguez? Mr. Rodriguez, Representative Post is not here this evening. It sounds like your comments are directed to him, so I would encourage you to reach out to him with those, with your statement and proceed in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Ms. Davison here? I have no one else signed up for a public testimony. She is not. Okay. So we may have to save that for another evening. She marked that she was going to comment on item 4F, which was the election of the 21-22 City Council President. So we'll see if she wants to comment on that later. At this time, though, I'm going to go ahead and move forward with administrative action. Item 8A, which is a resolution in the matter of the adoption of the municipal judge evaluation process, repealing resolution number R 2015-2572. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Chris, Madam Mayor and Council. The Mayor requested that we have a resolution with regard to the municipal judge evaluation and requested that be revised to allow appointments of councilors at the first meeting in January, where the Mayor appoints most of the councilor positions. The current resolution is for June. We also, in the attached resolution, changed the reporting period. So if the motion passes and the resolution passes, the Mayor would appoint 2 councilors now for the evaluation, and that report would be due back at the regularly scheduled meeting no later than the second meeting in October. So we're not getting into the holiday situation, which we've kind of had in the past. So that essentially is the gist of the attached resolution. The recommendation is to consider the matter, and if you desire to adopt the attached resolution, and following that, the Mayor would make the 2 appointments for the evaluation process. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report? Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a comment that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
I told him that I didn't want to, and Tracy, I didn't want to make her have to keep track of 2 separate appointment periods. It just made sense. And so we're doing the appointments now, just do it one and done. All right. With no further questions, Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2021 in the matter of adoption of the municipal judge evaluation process, repealing Resolution R 2015-2572.
Anyone wish to second?
I'll second.
There we go.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2021 in the matter of the adoption of municipal judge evaluation process, repealing Resolution number R 2015-2572. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. With that, the appointment for the municipal judge evaluation for calendar year 2021 will be Councilors Herrera and Day. For calendar year 2022 will be Councilors Reed and Duran. Okay. That takes us to then item 8B, ordinance declaring a 4th local state of emergency in the city of Keizer as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, declaring an emergency. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. City Attorney.
Thank you, Chris, Madam Mayor and Council. Yes, so we are looking at our 4th declaration. These are in line with the governor's orders, so that's why you see that timing as such. It's approximately a 2-month situation, as I recall. The current third declaration expires tomorrow on January 5th. I prepared a fourth declaration, and I'll go over briefly a couple of minor changes, and especially for new counselors, but also the older counselors too. When I prepare these things, it's with the best information I have. If there are policy choices, of course, those are just guesses on my part. I'm not hurt at all if you say, I didn't like your guess when you drafted that, Shannon. But I have to put something down so we can start with it, unless it's a situation where we've had a council meeting and you've directed me on particular issues. As many of you know, the council had Zoom meetings late last year, at least 2, as I recall. And for this first meeting, because it's the first meeting in the odd number year and the swearing in, the council chose to have that in person. I changed the declaration to allow that flexibility moving forward. So I modified section 3C that allows the council meetings to be held either virtually via Zoom or another electronic platform or in person at council direction. And so you can choose kind of on the fly that way rather than having to actually amend an ordinance, which would of course be more difficult. Along the same lines with regard to committee meetings, is that kind of toggle on, toggle off, if you will, decision point. For drafting purposes only, I've allowed the chair to make an initial determination followed by ratification by the committee. The idea there is the committees meet less often, and so it may be difficult to have a meeting where the committee is there, make a choice for the next meeting. So I allowed that flexibility for the chair. You can choose to change that if you wish. Or you could say, I want the committees to meet virtually only, if that's your direction, but that choice would be yours. With regard to the peer court coordinator, the hearings officer, also similar to what the judge is, and that's in their discretion following the state procedures. I also added a new provision indicating the use of the community rooms will comply with all applicable state regulations. Currently, under the extreme risk category, the community rooms are closed in Marion County. So with that, the recommendation is to review the matter, modify if you see it necessary, and adopt the ordinance. Following the adoption of the ordinance, then you need to make a consideration and a minute motion with regard to your future meetings via Zoom or not. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report or the order or the ordinance that's been presented? Oh, Mr. Wood.
I did field a question over the last week in regards to section 6, and that is whether the city has bypassed any of our purchasing compliance requirements. And to date, we have not. We have stayed consistent with our purchasing requirements that we've done throughout since the beginning of time. That section would allow us, in the event, say, the city hall was flooded and we needed to immediately replace some assets, we could bypass the competitive bidding process, or we could bypass the dollar threshold that would require city council approval. So we haven't had either of those type of experiences throughout this pandemic. So thank you.
Thank you very much, and that's a good clarification. Any further questions on the staff report or the ordinance itself? All right, hearing none. Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Keizer City Council adopt a bill for an ordinance 2021 for an ordinance declaring a fourth local state of emergency in the city of Keizer as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, declaring an emergency.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that Keizer City Council adopt a bill for an ordinance 2021 declaring a fourth local state of emergency in the city of Keizer as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, declaring an emergency. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. We have a decision point here as to whether to do our meetings by Zoom. We can make decisions month by month. In December, the council determined that we were going to do Zoom meetings for the remainder of that month and kind of see where we're at. So as we all know, Marion County is still considered, quote, extreme risk, according to the OHA data. So at this point, I entertain your opinions on whether we should, starting next week, go to Zoom for the remainder of the month, or for 2 months, whatever you believe is going to be in the best interest of the council and for the community participating in our meetings. I have no strong feeling either way. Councilor Reed? Did you have something?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, it seems to me that this should be something done month by month, just because it is such a, ever-changing sort of situation. So I think that it would be a good idea for at least the rest of January, at least for our regularly scheduled work session and council meetings.
Anybody have a different opinion on that? Councilor Day?
My big concern is that with Zoom meetings, it makes it very difficult for the public to participate. That's my biggest concern. And my understanding, and Mr. Epley, correct me if I'm wrong, but this will be the setup, what we have here in the council chambers and out in the lobby if we decide to continue with in-person, correct?
That'd be correct.
So I would prefer, at least for this month, to have our council meetings in person. And if after we go through the first couple meetings, if we don't have any public participation or anything of that nature, then yeah, Zoom would be okay with me, but my preference would be in person.
Yeah, public participation has been a significant issue with people having to get a login in order to do public testimony. However, our written testimony has definitely taken an uptick in volume. Preferences one way or another. City Manager.
Yeah, please, I don't want that promotion. My preference, I don't actually have a say in this. My preference, you probably all know this, is that we conduct business as a government in person to our citizens. That being said, we are in a global pandemic, and I understand that as well. My only request is whatever you do, please give us enough lead time so that Tim can actually set up the Zoom meetings in advance. So it would be nice to know month to month versus toggle on, toggle off very quickly.
Right. I agree. I think a month by month is a reasonable time frame. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The current setup that we have, is this fully within the regulations that the governor has set?
Yes.
So this is a setup where we can invite people in, we can do it in a responsible manner, and then we can also be present in a responsible manner. Wearing the face coverings and speaking clearly into our microphones.
I just feel if as long as it's meeting the standards that are set by the governor, then I much prefer to be in person unless something dictates otherwise.
Okay. What I'm hearing is a tendency to look at continuing in person for the month of January, as long as the situation in terms of our numbers does not take a drastic change. Is there anybody who disagrees with that? All right, I'm seeing some no. I think we're good. Mr. Johnson, do we need a motion to that effect, or do we concur that we are going to continue in person under the guidelines?
So I was looking down, Madam Mayor. I guess the question is there, you need to state if there was any objection or if you want to do a motion.
Okay. Consensus to meet in person for this month using these, complying with all conditions. Is there any objection? No objection.
Okay. We'll put it on the agenda for February 1 or for the last meeting in January. Last meeting in January to consider for February?
Yes, yeah, we need to do it in advance because, like you said, you have to give Tim a heads up. However, if there is a significant change, we will pivot to protect the health and safety of the staff and our community. So that needs to still stay on the table, that we be able to do that. I'm not seeing that in the numbers that we are getting from OHA. Yes, there has been some bumps, and we are definitely watching that. We want to make sure that people remain safe. So, okay, are we good? All right. In person it is. Consent calendar, we have nothing on the agenda this evening. Council liaison reports. So for our new councilors, what we do at this time is we'll kind of work around the dais and talk about the meetings that we went to. Committees. Committee meetings.
Committee reports.
Yeah. Did I just skip something? Because I'm looking council liaison reports.
I was just asking for clarification on the committee meetings. Leave
Oh,
up to the chair.
Yeah.
Well, the motion, actually, the ordinance stated, and no one changed the ordinance, so the committee chairs
Right.
will decide, and that's ratified at the next meeting by that committee.
Yes.
So we don't need a council decision point on that. I assume you wanted it that way, you didn't amend the ordinance. So the ordinance takes care of that.
Yeah, I didn't hear anybody said that they wanted to make the decision for the committee chairs, but to leave it to the judgment of the committee chair,
Right.
who is also looking out for the health and safety of their committee members and the public.
Right. And just so you're clear on that, the committee has to ratify that at the next meeting.
Okay.
And so if there's disagreement on the committee, then the committee can obviously by majority vote overrule the chair, and can make a decision moving forward. I did it that way because, like I said, they don't meet often enough to be able to make a decision like you folks meet often enough to make the next meeting, if you see what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, I think that's a reasonable, so I didn't see anybody that wanted to make a change in the ordinance to make the decision here for the committees. Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to note that I think many of the committees are getting a new chair this month, or is that?
I think it's on their agendas to vote on the chair. So that would be.
So who's ever chair right now,
Okay.
it would be the one making the decision that could be changed right away at the next meeting. But the current chairs will need to decide, and we'll be working with Tracy and Debbie to get that word out and get the decisions made from the committee chairs.
Thank you.
Before we go to our council liaison reports, I do want to back up because I did fail to read in for the record the list of written testimony correspondence that will be included in the record that will be published after this meeting. So with that, and I believe Ms. Davis has this list, but I'm going to read it into the record. Anna McKenzie, residents not listed, letter to Mayor Clark, Keizer City Councilors. Tom and Carolyn Holman, residents of Keizer, letter to council. Tom Holman, resident of Keizer, letter to Mayor Clark. Pat Fisher, resident of Keizer, council president selection. Betty Hart, resident of Keizer, Monday's council meeting. Elizabeth Swan, resident of Keizer, New Year's Day. Martin Dorfler, resident of Keizer, council president. Stanley J. Wisniewski, and if I mispronounced that, I apologize, resident of Keizer, city council president. Carrie Lee Brown, resident of Keizer, Roland Herrera. Betty Hart, resident of Keizer, letter to the city council, and I want to note this one was included in the packet. Barb McCullough Jones, resident of Keizer, letter for public record 04 January 2021. Colleen Bush, resident of Keizer, endorsement of Elizabeth Smith for council president. Cindy Swaney, resident of Keizer, public testimony submission, letter to city councilors. Michelle Roland Schwartz, resident of Keizer, thank you and written testimony. Paul Malone, resident of Keizer, Roland Herrera. Andrew Hickey, resident of Keizer, public testimony for 04 January 2021. RJ and Lucy Navarro, residents of Keizer, city council president appointment. Jonathan Thompson, resident of Keizer, council president election. Bob Bush, resident of Keizer, endorsed Elizabeth Smith for city council president. Claire Duran, resident of Keizer, council president. So I want to make sure that was in the record. If I missed one, and I very likely could have in the line of emails, I apologize, and they will be added in their entirety into the packet, into the record. Okay, took care of that oversight on my part. Okay, council liaison reports. So traditionally, this is a time that city councilors can share about what city meetings we have had, city business that we are looking to be involved in, and especially if you are a liaison or a representative of the city, this is the time to bring the rest of us up to speed on the work that is being done there. If there are minutes to share from meetings that you are attending that are not handled through the city, I encourage you to email them to Tracy Davis for the record, and also to make sure that they get out to the rest of the council. So we can also know about the work that is being done. For the new people, I'm going to give you a chance to say hey, but I'm just going to work around the room. And Councilor Herrera, may I start with you?
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to take my time to congratulate some of my friends that are recently elected. David Imami, who was the first Iranian American in Oregon to be elected to the City Council of Happy Valley. Tim Raines, who is the first person of color elected to mayor of Garibaldi. And also, of course, Alex Johnson III, who was the first person of color elected in Albany. I just want to congratulate them. They're all good people, and I'm glad that they're in leadership positions. I also want to congratulate my good friend Deb Patterson, who was elected state senator here in Oregon. And the rest had a bunch of meetings and not important. But I do want to do a shout out to Mr. Video, who was on TV the other day, and you know, talk about businesses here that are struggling, and he is one of the only video stores in the area. I mean, he's very dedicated, and I encourage folks to, especially when you're home right now, to try to help him out with his business and rentals, and he's a very good guy. And also, the last thing is the ducks stunk. But I still love my ducks. So, and welcome to our new counselors. I look forward to working with you, and good luck. Thank you very much. That's all.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Duran.
Well, since I haven't been here, I haven't done anything. Well, I did help take down the lights last Sunday, or yesterday, and I've done that for quite a few years, and I enjoy that. You know, the chamber takes a lot of pride in the decorations that go up, and there's a lot of volunteers that work on that. So I guess that's the thing that's closest in my mind that I've been a part of, and I'm just happy that everything went well and it did not rain while we were doing it.
Thank you very much. I did notice that the tree lights are off for this year, but they will be back. And thank you to the ELF crew that puts them up, and to, I believe it's R&R Tree Service that gets that ginormous tree star at the top safely. So thank you to them for their donation to the city and the holiday season. Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's been obviously kind of a quiet time since we were having holidays and such, but we do have coming up this week the Council Rules Review Committee at 6 o'clock, or no, I think that's at 4 o'clock, not 6. I was like, wait a minute.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock this week, and I'm looking forward to that. It's actually really interesting. It's very, you know, when we take the charter and what we had with the charter, and we got partway through it, and we realized that some of those things don't match, and you have to really kind of go back and actually look to make sure anything we changed in the charter actually then follows through to the rules. And I love process and procedures, so it's a very exciting thing, and I know that Councilor Reed and Councilor Kohler have both been very, very in depth with it, and I think we're going to have something that comes out that's really easy to understand, and I love that. I love new things that are clean and clear. So that is what I have scheduled for this week, and then I have a bunch of new appointments for next week, but I unfortunately will be gone for about 7 days. But I did get permission before I left. So I will be out next week from the 11th to the 17th, and then I'll be back and ready to hit it hard. So that's all I got tonight. Thank you.
So if you need any substitutes, reach out to us and we'll tag team. That's what we do. Councilor Day.
Well, seeing as how I got sworn in at about 25 after 7 and it's 31 after 8 right now, you've literally seen everything I've done as a Keizer City Councilor. And this is probably the only time that will happen, so I have nothing else to report.
All right, thank you so much. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I am also looking forward to the rules work. We are doing really good work, and a big thank you to Shannon and Tammy for making that so easy in terms of laying out each section and being very clear about that. That's a lot of work, and we really appreciate that. So in the world of students, there at McNary, there are 4 weeks left of the second quarter. And so that is just enough time to get stuff done. So if you have any kind of high school in your life that is working to get some credits for this quarter, it takes a village, and they need all the support that they can get. McNary is a fabulous leader in many ways. We have a counselor who's been nominated for a national award. Our superintendent has made the final 3, I think, for a national superintendent award. We have some truly amazing people there. And most notable is we had a group of counselors and teachers who went out on the 30th of December and did 90 home visits and reached about 75 kids and their families. And it's that kind of work that needs to happen. I guess there's a story in USA Today recently about some of the results of those home visits and what teachers and counselors have discovered. And, you know, it's easy to see this situation from our own perspective, but to know that this is very difficult for many people for a lot of reasons. And so this too shall pass at all levels. And we are looking at mid-February as a hopeful opening date to get kids back in school in the Salem-Keizer School District. Lots of things need to happen in order for that to happen, but that is the hope on the horizon. So that is what I've been involved with. Happy New Year to all, and thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, want a little shout out to Ross Day, Bob Shackelford, Kyle Duran, Dave Walry, and Bob Zielinski, who helped with Kay Wright and Kay's Catering to provide 1,800 cookies for the Keizer Community Dinner. What a great thing that was, and really appreciate. We fed over 900 people on the 23rd of December. Amazing, amazing thing. And the community that helps come together to make that all happen, it's awesome, awe-inspiring. But thank those 5 particularly for helping with the cookies, help finance the cookies. Thank you. I was able to view Danielle Bethel's swearing-in ceremony today. That was very exciting. I'm looking forward to visiting with her at our county commissioner breakfast. And then Council Policy Review Committee this Wednesday. I would encourage people to take time, don your masks and come down into the building and look at all the quilts that are on display. They're very, very beautiful, very amazing works of art, and please take time to do that. And then I just need to say I have a kind of a funny line of work, and I've seen a number of people that have passed on this last couple of weeks and last couple of months. Some have been friends, some have been friends of friends. What we witnessed today, where we had 2 counselors that surrendered their positions peacefully and went on to, to allow other people to take their place, is a lot like losing really good friends. And I'm sorry, but I've learned so much from these 2, and I very much respect and honor them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I only have a couple of things to add. I did have a couple of meetings over the break, so to speak. There was a planning meeting for the annual meeting of the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments. Please mark your calendars for February 17th. It will be a virtual event. We'll keep it to about an hour, probably be a noontime one, rather than the usual traditional evening event. So the planning committee is working on that, as we are going to pack it full of good information, and also the award winners for Marion, Polk, and Yamhill counties that will be honored at that event based on 2020. On the 31st, I met with the negotiating team and our prospective new executive director for the Council of Government. The negotiations went very well. A contract is being drafted, and when the board ratifies it, then the announcement will be made on who that individual is. I am very excited about the selection, and I'm very excited to have that individual to come and get started as the new executive director. Coming up, tomorrow we have the Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance Executive Board meeting. Councilor Reed is going to be my alternate, so going to be listening in on the work that is happening there, and there is a lot of work going on in our two-county area for meeting the needs, especially of our most chronically in-need homeless community members. On the 6th, I've been invited to another Salem Health and Salem Hospital update, and I will take notes and get that to you all. They are doing a great job making sure they are getting information out to community leaders so we can join together in supporting their staff, understanding what the situation is right here in Marion County for the provision of health services, and that we can make then informed decisions for our own health needs. On Thursday, MWAC, the Mid-Willamette Area Commission on Transportation, will be meeting, and I'll get you that packet. I'll forward it to you. It's online. On the 11th, I will be participating in the second of a series of Portland Women's Leadership Workshops. These are national workshops that are geared toward regional and national leadership, and the inspiration of the women that are leading these workshops is absolutely second to none. I am really inspired by their savvy, their passion, their intellect, and I really appreciate being able to be part of that. On the 12th, the Heritage Foundation Board of Directors will meet, and on the 13th will be the SEDCOR Business Forum. These continue to be virtual, so you will all receive the information to be able to log into that. I highly recommend it, that you hear what's going on in terms of business development, and to the point of people who are talking tonight about supporting our businesses. SEDCOR has stepped up their game big time in this last year, but they were already poised to be able to do that successfully, helping businesses reinvent themselves to market new products. We are now a personal protective equipment hub, not only for the region, but in the state for new and innovative products. Also, many of our businesses have been able to work together to pivot in how they are providing services and products, and they actually have jobs going wanting. We have a need for people who are going to apply for some of the jobs. So that's exciting, that we are able to be a place where people can get employment, good employment. On the 14th, I'll be attending the virtual Housing Economic Summit, talking about the nexus between housing costs and the wages of jobs. And this is something we all know is important as we are looking at Keizer, how people can live and work in the same community and be able to afford the housing that we have here. The same day will be the full meeting of the Board of Directors for the Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance. And then on the 15th, I sent to all of you a link to a presentation on the Oregon history of fairness in housing by the Fair Housing Authority. I have seen this presentation. It is mind-blowing. It is very powerful. I highly recommend all of you watch that and be part of that, because it really goes over how we got to where we're at in terms of not having housing equity in Oregon. Lays the foundation of how we got to where we're at, but also how we are going to be able to dig in all together, working toward the same goal of housing equity, opportunity for all people in our community, to be inclusive and welcoming for all families. So highly recommend that. Lastly, I neglected to read into the record at our last council meeting, and I wanted to take the privilege of reading this in, as I mentioned earlier. And this is a letter from Marty McGee. Dear Kathy Clark, Keizer City Council, and Keizer Rotary. Greetings from Arizona. In these very tough times, I hope everyone in Keizer, Oregon is hanging in there. The state of Oregon has been hit especially hard with the pandemic, the statewide fires that wiped out many houses in the Portland riots. Enclosed is a check for $1,000 for the Jerry McGee Scholarship Award. School education has also been a tough issue this year, and I am hoping the Keizer Rotarians can use this check to further the education of McNary High School students. Wishing continued success to the city of Keizer, Marty McGee from Surprise, Arizona. And for those who don't know Marty McGee, his father, Dr. Jerry McGee, was a 12-year city councilor, former director of the Fairview Training Center, and a longtime Rotarian. The scholarship was established in his memory. And I believe, Mr. Epley, you delivered that check to the Rotary. Am I correct?
I will.
You will. Okay, this was way back in November, so.
I did.
Oh, you did. Tracy told me you did, so if Tracy said it, it is so. Because she gets all of that right. Agenda input. We will meet next Monday at January 11th at 6 p.m. in a City Council work session. We'll begin the work on council goals, work plan, and so forth. It's going to be the first of probably 2 meetings because there's a lot of brainstorming that's going to be happening and a lot of ideas that I've heard from all you all and that we'll be hearing from city staff as well as what the work plan is within our various departments. Our next regular council meeting will be on Tuesday, January 19th, 2021 at 7 p.m. right here in City Hall. And then we will also have a work session on January 25th, 2021, starting at 6 p.m. And that's when we'll be doing, Mr. Johnson, I believe you'll be doing training for all the city councilors. I will be doing some tips and tricks on city council service success. And we'll also be doing our safety training for city council. So stay tuned for that. And then on February 1st, 2021, we will meet at 7 p.m. right here, we presume, in regular session. That is all I have for agenda input. Is there anything else for the good of the order? Mr. Johnson.
Madam Mayor, were you going to do other business with staff?
I really should do that, and I skipped right over that, didn't I? I just went sailing on by. I will back it up. Let's go back to other business. This time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new or old matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And every time we have a new council sworn in, I like to reflect on the words of Jerry McGee. It was interesting that you brought him up. He used to say that right here, just now, we had a peaceful transference of power at the most important level of government. And this is something that we fortunately take for granted every time that it happens, because it isn't taken for granted in most places in this world. And it happened without shots fired, without tanks in the streets. So it's something to be proud of and something that's kind of awe-inspiring that most places wish they had access to. So something to remember. With that, Tracy, do you have anything?
I'd just like to welcome the new council members and thank you to the outgoing members for your kind words.
Shane?
Welcome, new council members. Thank you so much. Tim, I'm going to slide over here, I guess. Thank you so much, Kim and Marlene. You guys have been great to work with. Welcome aboard, Councilor Day and Councilor Duran. It's going to be really hard for me to refer to you guys that way, but I'll do my best. And then there's just one other thing, but I'm going to let Shannon talk about that. So, Tim?
Well, I would, I guess, third that. Thank you for your service to the city. And also welcome aboard the new councilors. The other thing I'd like to add is the city of Keizer. We just received notification that we earned the Government Finance Officer's Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. This is for the budget for fiscal year 2021. They used to send me nice shiny paper, and this is actually a packet from last time, and I just had to print this off. They just sent me an email this time, so
budget reductions.
It really feels anticlimactic at this point, but I do feel like this is one that we earned this year. Not every city receives this award. This is for a clear, concise, easily understood budget document. Our document is quite long, but it is a lot more user-friendly than a lot of cities out there. This is the 7th year that we've received this award, and like I say, I do believe that we've earned it this year. This happened in the midst of a pandemic where we had shutdowns of not having access to city employees, to counselors, residents, but also to our vendors that we work closely with when we do come up with some of our budget estimates. We also did our budget meeting via Zoom last year, which was an interesting challenge. I am happy that we did make it through that, and it was rather efficient, maybe too efficient. I do miss having a lot of the public input. Last of all, I'd like to just say thanks to the City Council, the Budget Committee, all of the department heads, all of the fellow co-workers, and also to the Keizer residents. This award is really not my award or the Finance Department award. It's all of our award. It takes all of us to put this document together. Thank you.
Thank you very much and congratulations.
Chief T. That's for Tim, not Chief. Oh, yeah.
I should say I have great memories of working at the Big Toy with Kim, seeing her fleeting all over the place out there. And I have greater memories of being on top of the picnic area at Clyde Creek Park with Marlene, replacing the roof. But she's a hard worker. Those were good days. I look forward to developing memories with you guys too. Thank you.
Bill?
Well, thank you, Counselor. Thank you, Chris. First of all, welcome to Counselor Day. Counselor Duran, I look forward to working with you over the next 4 years. And counselors, or former counselors, thank you for all your dedication, all your years of service. And I look forward to seeing you in social events when we can have them again. Other than that, that's all I have, Chris.
Michelle, anything?
Oh, goodness. Hang on. We'll circle.
This sounds like a repeat, but again, thank you so much to Kim and Marlene. I really appreciated getting to know you, and you have provided amazing service to the city of Keizer. We will really miss you. I hope you'll stay in touch. On occasion. And to our newest counselors, I can't wait to get to meet you in person, and please come and see me with all questions related to working for the city of Keizer. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Oh,
And the attorney.
yeah. So easy to forget the attorney, you know. So without going into more attorney jokes, thanks, Chris. So thank you to Shane. I'm going to ask Tim to switch places again for pointing out a little problem that we need to go back to the Zoom thing. Already there's an issue. Shane pointed out to me that we tentatively have the master plan amendment for Area D again, tentatively scheduled for February 1. It's a very minor change, but unfortunately has to come back to council. It's really unfortunate they couldn't figure this out before they did it several months ago, and we wouldn't have to do this twice. I don't think, and this is where I need you to weigh in, Shane, I don't think either Shane or the applicant or anyone cares one way or the other about the Zoom. It's just that we need to kind of decide now for February 1. So would you agree, or?
Yeah.
Turn it on.
Tim, he turns his mic off. So I just leave mine on. Yeah, I don't believe the applicant cares. Like any good land use application, it's never quite fast enough, even though we process things amazingly fast. So I know they would prefer to get it done sooner than later. We received the submittal. We sent it out for request for comments just the end of last week, kind of trying to speed things along as quickly as we can. And essentially, because of the way it's calendared, the first possible time we could get it to council for a public hearing would be that first meeting in February. They are aware that it may have to slide to the second meeting just because the calendar's tight. But the issue was what I heard tonight, if, for example, at the second meeting in January, it was determined that we would be going to Zoom, that could pose a bit of a problem for me getting notice in the newspaper to meet deadlines for noticing the public hearing ahead of time adequately.
So the request from staff is that you revisit the motion and determine if you want to make a determination on that date. Do you want to keep with in-person meetings through February 1st and then decide? Or do you want to decide now that the February 1st meeting is Zoom? And again, I don't think it matters, it's just we need to do it for notice purposes.
Okay, that makes sense. So by consensus, we agreed that we were going to be in person. Is there any objection to adding February 1st to that determination? Looking for an objection. I see no objection to adding February 1st to that determination that we will be on site, with the caveat that if there is a significant change in the numbers or the health risk, we will make a change.
And if I may, Madam Mayor, and I think I pointed this out, although I didn't verbally, but in the staff report or in the ordinance, of course, state law could change too. So that trumps us, where they would preempt our decision if they directly apply to these meetings. So that could occur too, and if it does, we'll just deal with that on the fly, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think those are some of the unknowns of where we're at right now, but as far as we know, insofar as we know, we can hold an in-person meeting with a similar setup that will be compliant for health safety. Okay? We
Very
good?
well.
All right.
And I had nothing further. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, Councilor Kohler had a question for Sam.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Lawyer, you had requested that we drive around the county and see how the reflective paint is in other areas of the county. I find it to be very dull there also. So I suggest that the county has some kind of problem with the reflective paint.
Okay. I appreciate that input, and I will discuss that with them.
I have a lot of people calling me about it.
Ditto. We're getting a lot of complaints about, and they're right. We all know that this is not just.
I just thought I was getting old and couldn't see.
Yeah, well, some of us resemble that. But that said, however, the reflectivity is not what it used to be. So there's been a lot of theories out there, but if you can run that to ground, that would be really helpful for the safety of the people here.
I will certainly work on that, and I have some other options in mind that I'll be researching and reporting back to you about.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Any other questions? Looking. All right. Did I skip anything else this time? Apparently, I am out of synchronization tonight. I got thrown. So,
Are you a new mayor?
I don't know. I think I hadn't done this before or something. It's 2021. Is that the new meme? Anyway, with that, is there anything else for the good of the order? All right, seeing none, the time is 8:53 and we are adjourned. Thank you all.
You need to get your mic fixed.